The sweet lie that keeps men trapped forever. Hello, I want you to breathe and listen with a clear mind for the next few minutes. Right now, as you hear my voice, many men believe they are doing the right things in their relationships. They provide, they protect, they try to be patient, yet something feels wrong that they cannot name. It is not a bruise you can photograph. It is the slow erosion of self-respect. It is the constant feeling of walking on eggshells in your own home. Most of us were taught that violence only looks like a punch or a shove. That the only victim is the person with the visible mark. But there is another kind of violence that hides in plain sight. It speaks in cutting jokes that everyone laughs at while you die a little inside. It arrives as cold silence that lasts for days and makes you question your sanity. It appears as conditions placed on love, on time, and on intimacy. Anyone can use these tactics. Men can use them. Women can use them. Abusive partners of any gender borrow the same playbook. And male victims are often ignored because the wounds are invisible. Here is the ruthless truth. When the damage is psychological, the world rarely sees it. Your friends think you are fine because there are no marks on your skin. You start to apologize for things you did not do. You explain away cruelty as stress. You call control by a softer name. You tell yourself tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow will not be different until you name what is happening. In this video I will do 3 things. First, I will expose the most common psychological weapons an abusive partner uses to control you. Second, I will show you a real case that mirrors what many men live through in silence. Third, I will give you a practical plan to reclaim your peace, your backbone, and your life. I am not here to make you hate anyone. I am here to help you see clearly and act with courage. If you find value in straight talk that cuts through the noise, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next step. Your life is not a cage and your mind is not a battleground that you must lose. You deserve respect. You deserve calm. You deserve a home where your nervous system can rest. Stay with me, because clarity comes before strength. And today you will get both. The hidden truth explained. Let us begin with a fact that is rarely spoken. When a man strikes a woman, society sees the bruise. When a woman dismantles a man's confidence piece by piece, society sees nothing. One is labeled violence, the other is dismissed as drama, as personality, as a difficult marriage. Yet the scars of the second cut far deeper and last far longer. Think about it. Physical wounds heal. But what about years of being told you are never enough? What about the endless silence used as punishment? What about the constant comparison to other men, other husbands, other fathers? These are not accidents. These are weapons designed to strip you of your sense of worth until you are nothing more than a shadow. I once spoke to a man who built a successful business, provided for his family, and still believed he was failing. Why? Because his wife convinced him that his desire for intimacy was an addiction. She said, "You only see me as an object. You need therapy." And he believed her. He sat in counseling sessions apologizing for a normal human need while she controlled the entire rhythm of their marriage. He was not broken. He was being broken. Another man, a respected executive, told me his wife had not spoken a single word to him in 3 years. 3 years of silence while they lived in the same home. Imagine the crushing loneliness of eating alone in the house you paid for. Walking like a ghost through the life you built. That is not marriage. That is psychological imprisonment. Here's the dangerous part. It never begins this way. It always begins with love, with sweetness, with the illusion of care. Slowly the circle tightens. First, your friends are criticized, then your hobbies, then your family, until one day, you look around and realize the only person left in your world is the one dismantling you. And because society only recognizes the bruise, not the silence, you look crazy when you try to explain. You are told to man up, to stop complaining. You are not seen as a victim. You are seen as the problem. That is why this conversation matters. If this feels uncomfortably close to your own life, I want you to listen very carefully to the next part. Because once you recognize the weapons, you can no longer deny them. You will begin to see them everywhere. And seeing them is the first step to breaking free. The weapons and the stories. Let's pull the curtain back and name the weapons. Because once they're named, they can no longer operate in the dark. The first is guilt manipulation. Everything becomes your fault. If she is unhappy, it is because you are not romantic enough. If she is bored, it is because you are not exciting enough. If she cheats, It is because you pushed her to it. The crime is always yours. You spend your days apologizing for things you never did, chasing problems that do not exist. The second is isolation. She never says, you cannot see your friends. That would be obvious. Instead, every time you go out, a fight begins. Maybe about the trash you forgot. Maybe about something you said last month. You end up late, upset, or canceling altogether. Slowly, your friends stop inviting you. You think you chose peace. In reality, you were trained to live without witnesses. The third weapon is humiliation disguised as humor. At the dinner table, in front of friends, she tells jokes about your failures, your weight, your salary, even your performance in bed. Everyone laughs awkwardly while you die inside. And if you object, you are told you can't take a joke. Too sensitive. The abuser becomes the comedian. And you become the punchline. The fourth is sex as currency. Something that should be a natural bond between two people becomes a tool of control. Agree with her. Maybe you get intimacy. Disagree. Prepare for months of cold rejection. You are trained like a dog waiting for scraps. Grateful for affection that should never have been conditional in the first place. Then there is financial pressure. My friend's husband bought her a new car. My sister's family travels every year. I guess I'm just not worth it. You work yourself into the ground trying to keep up. Trying to prove you are enough. And when you work more to provide, you are accused of neglecting the family. You cannot win because the game was never designed for you to win. The children become another weapon. Threats of custody battles. Whispers of poisoning their minds against you. The fear of losing them altogether. For many men, this becomes the prison guard that ensures they never escape. And the list continues. Gaslighting until you no longer trust your memory. Emotional terrorism with threats of suicide or panic attacks whenever you assert yourself. The victim flip, where she provokes you until you snap and suddenly you are the monster. Intermittent reinforcement, giving just enough sweetness to keep you hooked while the cycle of abuse continues. I know these words sting. Maybe you recognize one. Maybe you recognize all of them. Maybe you are remembering moments you buried because admitting them was too painful. But hear me now. You are not crazy. You are not weak. These tactics are real, and they are being used against you. In the next part, I will show you the hardest truths and the first steps out of this prison. It will not be easy, but it will be clear. The ruthless truth and the way out. Here is the truth most men never want to face. The woman who once seemed loving, supportive, and perfect for you may never have truly existed. She was a performance. The real person is the one who uses silence as a whip, guilt as a leash, sex as a bargaining chip. The good moments, the sweetness, the intimacy, the bursts of kindness, are not proof of love. They are calculated reinforcement to keep you chained. I know this is brutal to hear. I know part of you still whispers, but she loves me, but she can change, maybe if I try harder. That is the voice of your pride, of your hope, of your addiction to rare moments of tenderness. But listen closely. You cannot fix someone who does not think they are broken. She believes the relationship is working perfectly, because she has control. So what do you do? First, understand this. It is not your fault. You are not weak for being manipulated by someone you trusted. You are not broken for believing in love. You were targeted, conditioned, and trained. The fog in your head, the confusion in your chest, that is not stupidity. That is the effect of psychological warfare. Second, document everything. When she gaslights you, when she flips the script, you need proof for yourself. Write it down, record it, email it to yourself. Build a trail of reality that cannot be erased. Third, rebuild your support system. Quietly reconnect with old friends. Make new ones she does not know about. These people will remind you of who you were before the abuse. And who you can be again. Fourth, protect your finances. Start a private account. Track your assets. Prepare for the storm. Because when you choose freedom, she will try to destroy you financially. And fifth, the most difficult, accept that leaving may cost you almost everything. Your house. Your money. Even time with your children. She may smear your name. She may turn others against you. But staying costs you something far worse. It costs you yourself. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose a house and build another. But once you lose your sense of self, once you accept slavery in exchange for peace, you are gone, and the man you were meant to be will never return. The question now is not whether this is painful. It is, The question is whether you will continue to trade your entire life for the illusion of stability. In the final part, I will give you the wake-up call you have been avoiding, and the choice that only you can make. Listen to me carefully. You have one life, one chance, and every single day you stay in an abusive relationship is a day you will never get back. That is the ruthless truth. Tomorrow will not be different. Tomorrow will not suddenly become gentle. Tomorrow will look exactly like today, unless you decide to break the cycle. I want you to imagine yourself at 60 years old, sitting in your own home, but feeling like a stranger in it, eating alone, avoiding conversation, living like a ghost in the life you built. That is the future waiting for you if you keep waiting, if you keep hoping, if you keep pretending. Some of you will finish this video and do nothing. You will nod, maybe feel angry, maybe even cry, but then you will go back to the same silence. The same manipulation, the same cage, because leaving is scary, because starting over feels impossible. And that is exactly what your abuser is counting on. But a few of you, just a few, will take this as your wake-up call. You will realize you are not crazy, you are not alone, and you are not trapped. You will begin planning quietly, preparing carefully, and building the courage to walk away. And when you do, yes, you will lose things you cannot imagine losing. But you will gain something priceless, yourself. Stop letting fear dictate your life. Stop letting society shame you into silence. Stop giving away your years to someone who feeds on your pain. You deserve better. You deserve respect, peace, and love that is not a weapon. If you are ready to face these truths and rebuild your strength, stay with this channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join a community that refuses to stay silent. Because the clock is ticking. And every day you remain a prisoner is a day she wins and you lose yourself. The choice is in front of you right now. Stay in hell with the devil you know. Or step into the unknown for a chance at freedom. No one can make that choice for you. But remember this, the man you were born to be is waiting on the other side of fear. So I ask you, how many more days will you trade before you finally choose yourself?